YouTube, I'm back and I'm going to bring you through my upper day. Okay, so I have upper today with Joe, as per usual, because I train with Joe. And I'm going to give you a rundown of the session and everything. There's no point in me telling you what it's going to be here in the flat when I can tell you what it's going to be in the gym. And again, if I feel up for it, I'll do a bit of talking in the gym. If not, it'll be a voiceover. I really like talking in the gym though, not to people, just leave me alone, I'm only joking. I quite like helping people in the gym, but there's a time and a place for talking, you know. So that will be that, and I said I'd bring you through just what I use in my intra-workout shake. So creatine, we know a lot about creatine now. I'm not going to say all the usual stuff you hear, but apart from it making you stronger and giving you a bit more explosive power, it's proven to be a decent nootropic as well. So the focus benefits from it can be decent too. JP, sustain, this is the carb source. Bit of a hydration formula in that too, which I love a hydration formula, not gonna lie, because I feel horrendous if I haven't been hydrated. And that's the same for everyone, but most people aren't hydrated. So that's why they think that's the norm. But get your hydration on point, you'll notice a big difference. HydraFlow, while we're on the topic of hydration, all of this can be got from Mycoresupplements, by the way. Lvlup, so Lvlup for 10% off. Glutamine, I take this intra-workout as well. It helps with the gut health, but this is also a BCA. And then my pre-workout stack, do not fucking miss, and pumpage with, in my opinion, the best pre-workout flavors you can get. Sour cherry in both. I actually look forward to drinking my pre-workout, and that's not because I'm on prep, but it genuinely just tastes dank. So 20 grams of this, 22 grams of this. Best pumpage, there's only one pumpage and it's JP's pumpage, but the best pump product is pumpage. Close second would be the Alpha Line Superhuman Pump or something, but this and this, very, very good. If I wasn't to get this stim, I would get Prepare Pro or Naughty Boy Menace. They're the top three. I don't really waste my time with the rest of them, if I'm honest. There is obviously other good ones, but they're the ones that I just seem to be, I find most effective for me, honestly. That's the pre-workout stack. I'm not going to mention the half a Cialis and 25 milligram of Anavar I took, because that's just bad practice. But now that it's said, that's not advice. That's just what I did today, to be fully transparent. So if you're thinking, Jim, why are you looking so juicy today? It's obviously because of the pre-workout stack, not because I'm actually juicy. So I'm going to put this together. I'm not going to show you what it looks like in a shaker, because that's just colored liquid. Then I'm going to walk to meet Joe for pre, chat some shit with him. Then we'll go to the gym and absolutely send it, and I will see you there. Made it to the gym. Going to give you a bit of a run through of the session, and just like last time, I'll put the sets and everything of the exercises on the screen somewhere that there's space. So first up, there's always going to be a bit of arms. We train arms at the start of every session, whether it be an upper day, a pull day, a push day, a leg day, whatever it may be. So we have biceps to start off this upper day. Then we have the best press that I've ever used in my life, so really lucky to have that here at FLF, the Prime flat press. Some people think it's an incline, but it's a flat press when you think of like ribcage angle and where the humerus ends up. Then we have a lat row, then we have a fly, then we have two more back exercises. So we have the Prime extreme row, we have the Atlantis plate loaded pull down, we have the Prime extreme row, then we have some retractions on that as well. We then go into some lateral delts and finish off with a lengthened range bicep exercise. And I'll do a bit of posing afterwards, which I will film the other way or put some screenshots on the screen after that. So that's the session. I'll do a little bit of talking with everything, not so much with the arms, but any cues or tips I think are necessary or will be helpful at least on the presses and the pull downs and stuff, I'll shine a bit of knowledge on you there. So if you have any questions about anything I'm doing in the session, something I might not have covered, then do just comment and I'll get back to all the comments.
Well done, Justin, in here. It's Justin not
Catch ya later. Good. Top set completed. Up 1.25 kilos and up a rep, so that's huge. I think this is gonna go for all presses, if I'm honest, and anything. So setup, right? If you are just hopping into a machine on whatever setup is there from the last person and just doing your set, you will have really unpredictable performance, okay? Put in your logbook or your notes, whatever machines you use, the seat height, and also video some of your sets so you can see if things are looking right. So if you look back at my set there, I'm not flared, I'm not tucked, something in between, that kind of 45-degree angle, so slight tuck. It's gonna align with the pec fibers the best, okay? So you set a seat height that, back in that position with that tuck, the handle you're holding is directly out in front of it's in line with your fist, your wrist, and your elbow all the way back down. Don't have your fist come inside your elbow, outside your elbow, when you're in the stretch. It all needs to be stacked from top to bottom because gravity works in straight lines. We're strongest in straight lines. So if you want power, you want stacked joints, okay? Slow eccentrics, gather in your brace just before the bottom, brace, and drive out. And that's going to apply to a lot of things, because then when you drive out and you breathe and you gather your brace, you make it more like a natural breathing pattern, which means you're less likely to gas out before the end of the set. You don't want your lungs to be given up before the muscle does. So setup is absolute key. Look at where my joints are aligned and everything in that for the perfect chest press. Set 2 is about to go down. Yes, I did the last clip on a different machine. You're not going crazy. I don't do anything above 10 reps really. And if I end up above 10 reps, I know I need to increase load. Given that form is standardized, if I get above 10 reps because I've sped things up or whatever, then it's not a progression and I need to clean that up the next time. And you'll probably notice I don't use much of a different load between the two sets. Sometimes the actual load is the exact same, but the resistance profile is kind of manipulated so that I can get the most out of it. If you don't have prime machines, you won't have that luxury, but don't go into super high rep ranges because you cannot brace efficiently past like 12 reps or so. Think of the amount of times you have to hold your breath to brace for a 12 rep set. Yes, it's going to burn, you're going to get a pump and you might fail, but you want to pick a rep range that is a sweet spot for you, that you can brace on every single rep, output as much power on every single rep, and also be safe with the loading of that rep range so that everything is covered. you hit failure because it's muscular failure. You can do the correct form and you don't gas out before the muscle fails. Side note, sickest wrist wraps you can get from Hardbody. I'm wearing the blackout ones. Absolutely love these. You get two lengths, the shorter ones like this, or if you're doing some big lifts, you can get some longer ones for that bit more support. And later on in the year, they have some stiffer ones like some other brands that are out there. But I really advise the Hardbody stuff. It looks sick. It lasts a lifetime really. And if it doesn't, you have a lifetime warranty. So if you want to look sick and perform really well, Hardbody, Gym 10. Yeah. Right, so first lat movement of the session complete. You'll notice it's single arm because you are going to align with your lat a lot better when it's single arm. So cues that are going to be universal for any lat row here is imagine scraping your elbow along the floor and wrapping it around your side, okay? Don't have your seat too high, don't have it too low, because when you pull back, you want your arm to be straight. So from elbow to fist to where you're pulling from, it wants to be a straight line because again, we're strongest in straight lines. When you're pulling back and down, as I said, wrap around. The goal of any movement is insertion to origin. So insertion of the lat, origin, you want to get those closer, okay? But also your setup, you can kind of create a bit of distance between them so you do train the actual full contractile range of the lat. So that would be getting the hip of the working side slightly away so that you're creating more distance between the origin and the insertion. And then when you're pulling back down and around, you're closing that gap. Pulling around because the lats do kind of come around the back into the spine. So you want to mimic that motion. Same thing when you're letting the movement out, you want to think about scraping your elbow along the floor to keep on the lat. Don't go so far forward that your shoulder rolls in. There's no lat there, okay? Same as don't have your elbow come back too far. Your lat isn't going to have any leverage there. Okay, it's probably going to be rear delt. So there's some things to consider. That is going to apply to a cable lat row, a machine lat row, anything like that. The only thing that may differ is the actual equipment you're using. So you don't need a prime machine. Every gym has a cable. You can do this in any gym because of that. And it's going to be a nice lower lat movement.
second chest exercise and last chest exercise done. So this is more of like a costal fly. Kind of, you'll notice how our humerus is moving. Rather than going from low to high for like a clavicular, we have more of like a upward elbow position where our arm tracks from high to kind of down below our nipples, or at least the lower part of our chest. Absolutely insane connection on this. And just because hand pressure does come into things, like, and we obviously use these CAS handles, and we have the kind of thinner side towards the top of our hand, or the thumb side of our hand, so that it almost allows the movement to orientate downward even better, which isn't necessary in all kind of costal flies, but it helps a lot. Also just notice chest is slightly up, we're really opening up, and we're keeping that rib cage tall, because if you are going up and down, you're not getting as much as you can from the move. Because if you think, this is where, again, thinking about distance from kind of origin to insertion, if we're here and we're here, that's the most distance from there to there as we can get. If you're going up here and down here and up here and down here, you're taking away from what you think you're actually doing. Whereas if you stay here, you're getting all the stretch and you're getting the contraction. If you go down, you're actually taking away from your contraction, but you're also taking away from where you end up in the stretch. So proud chest, and always side of your bicep into your pec, not the top of your bicep. That's going to be mainly front delt, okay? Drive that humerus across the body, so horizontal adduction. You shouldn't even be able to touch your hands in the middle if you're doing this properly, because your humerus will finish here, fully contracted chest. That is your contraction, and then you start your eccentric again. And also just spend a little bit of time in that stretch. Don't just bounce out of the stretch, because that is going to get you injured real quick. The last lat bias movement of the session. So this is obviously our vertical pull down, because obviously pull downs are vertical, but we had our horizontal lat movement, now we have a vertical one, okay? I don't want to hear anybody in the comment section about sagittal this, sagittal that, same movement, no merit to doing this, it's redundant. Shut up. Okay, so this, obviously the idea is shoulder extension, right? And driving your elbow down to your hip. The other one is down and around, not the sole idea of getting it from extension down to your hip, okay? So it is different, and obviously there is going to be a slightly different bias. The reason I think people have it mixed up is because you'll see people do this movement like this, okay? That is why they think it's the same movement as that, because if you were to flip me this way, you'd notice the plane that I'm pulling in is pretty much the same as if I was to do a horizontal row. But this one, with a slight depression of the rib cage and my arm coming up above head and elbow driven down, it is different, and it is going to hit a different portion of the lat. Will it hit the whole lat? Yes. Will it hit my whole back? Yes. Same as any other back movement, but it's about the bias, okay? So don't worry about listening to these little dweebs that'll tell you it's redundant, because the muscle I'm building is not redundant, okay? And you'll see that on stage. Okay.
Yeah, let's get it.
Oh, I love the way my bosoms caress the pad.
Let's go.
Third and final back exercise done. This is a mountain of a session. There's 3 back exercises, 2 chest exercises, there's arms, there's delts, but it's just one of those ones. It's so worth it, like the challenge, and then progressing every movement, leaving the gym feeling accomplished, like you are spent after this. Not to the point that it's not productive, you know, but just that's kind of what I like, because a lot of the time we're trying to preserve this, preserve that, and it gets a little bit like, yeah, it's great progressing all your sessions, but you want to feel like you've trained, and this session you feel very accomplished after. So extreme row here. I love this because you can load it, okay? And it just feels great. Okay, this is upper back bias. I didn't film it, rookie, but I did retractions here as well for that mid-back kind of trap thickness that I'm missing, to be honest. I have decent lower lats. My upper back is like not amazing, to be fair, but this is going to hit that upper back really well and hopefully fill in some gaps in that mid-back kind of upper trap. I've seen improvements there for sure. But yeah, main thing here, not limiting any movement, just as much scap movement as possible. Not looking to really spend any time anywhere, but just slow eccentrics and just shift some load. Okay, it's with back exercises you can afford to be that little bit more liberal, if that makes sense. Like you can just go for it. Obviously don't do anything stupid and make sure you're not like rocking in and out. So the only thing that will be stable throughout this session really is that kind of chest position, and the scaps move about that, and you're thinking about just driving those elbows back as far as you can, slow eccentric, maybe a micro pause at the bottom so you're not using a stretch reflex. Just continue doing that until failure and you'll get a massive back pump. Oh, fucking hell. A Y raise here. I hate filming this because no matter what angle I do it from, I look like a fucking dweeb, but we have a lateral machine, which is obviously a different plane of motion, and we have this Y raise as well, so we're coming through like almost like a bit of external rotation, where this will be a little bit heavy in the stretch, but it's also going to tax that shorten range, where it goes kind of like, to be honest, easy, hard, easier, but that external rotation, you're really going to get that delt short, and it just feels great, to be honest. You're starting from almost like a straight arm position in front at the midline of your body, and you're coming out and up and externally rotating at the top, and it feels great. Like, it honestly burns the shit out of my delt. So if you are kind of sick of doing your regular dumbbell laterals or your machine laterals or whatever, and you want something a little bit different that taxes the delt in a bit of a different way, this is something you could try for sure. Right, so last exercise, lengthened range bicep curl. So I see a lot of people absolutely butchering this, saying, oh yeah, behind the body curl, lengthened range, and they're here, okay? And they're curling to there and taxing the shortened range. If it's lengthened range, when you're at the bottom, you want there to be a right angle, so your arm cable, okay? Then when you're coming up and up and up, that moment arm changes. So essentially what that means is just when you're coming up to the top, the cable goes in line with your arm. You can hold it for ages. That means it drops off at the top. So difficult here, easy here. Spend some time in the stretch, drag it up to the contraction. Keep your elbows by your side. When this happens and you do that, you've changed the exercise completely. That would mean the cable is right angle from your hand here, which is no good. It's short in range then. So it's a top tip if you want to do behind the body curls and actually tax that lengthened range. Signing out the video here with the post-workout meal. I was in the gym for a long time, so I was like, look, I'm just gonna do the outro here in the comfort of my own home with a bowl of cream rice with the most poorly made whey paste ever, because on one hand, very exciting, got a new flavor that I haven't had in a long time, chocolate orange, which is lovely, tastes nicer than I remember. So I'm either prepping really hard, or amongst the formula changes with the ways they got it bang on, or they improved it this time. But it needs like a good 20 ml less water than the last one. So even after the first failed attempt, like really using way less water, thinking that'll be fine, it was like soup. Okay, so less water again, still like soup. Wasn't willing to lose more weight. It'll still taste great. It's just not the consistency I want. But that's just me rambling. Sick session. Hopefully there was something for each of you to take away from that session. It's a big one, okay? Upper sessions tend to be big ones. But you'll notice from when I've listed the sets and whatever, that the volume's not very high. Reps aren't high either. So it does have pretty whopper recovery demand, but at the same time, it would be worse if there's more sets and more reps. I've also got some visuals post-workout. I wasn't delighted about the visuals. I felt a bit flat, but I'm definitely getting leaner. Okay, despite the scales not moving a huge amount, I'm getting leaner because the anabolics are doing their thing. My training's progressive. My recovery and sleep is great. So things are in a great stride. I was 102.7 this morning. My lowest is 102.5, and the look in terms of getting leaner is great, but I was a bit flatter than usual today. Performance was great. It's just a really long session. I think I would have looked better about halfway through the session than I did post-workout, which is just how it goes when you burn through all your food and you only have a limited amount of carbs. So I might need to position my intra drink a little bit later on in the session, so it sustains me towards the end. But I'll pop those up on the screen as I was talking there and as I'm talking here. And you can even have your own opinion on them. You might think I look good, you might think I look shit, you might be like, Jim, fucking go back into an off season, you dweeb. But no, not awful visuals, but not the happiest I've been with them, but definitely moving in the right direction condition wise. Check in tomorrow in Casa del Ganabolic, where we will devise a plan going forward. I tend to make up my mind on what I'm going to do, and I just tell him what I'm going to do, and he agrees or disagrees. There's been no disagreement yet, because I am quite good. Like, I know my own body very well, and I'm not very emotional in decision making. 13 weeks out tomorrow. I'm in a great spot for 13 weeks out, especially in comparison to previous preps. So things are looking good for me. But yeah, that is all. Apart from that, nothing else to really comment on. So like, comment, share, subscribe. Comment if there's anything you want me to cover, whether it be training, mindset, diet, anything at all. A day in the life, which, like, whether it be rest day, maybe not a training day, because a training day in the life is just a full day of eating with training. Like, there's nothing else really. But yeah, just give me some suggestions. If you have questions about anything that maybe I didn't explain too well in the gym, because when I'm in the gym, I'm like tunnel vision, and some, like, as I get throughout the session, the brain fog might increase, or I might run through things and explain it as if it's common sense, where it's not going to be common sense to some of you. So unsure about anything, comment that below as well, and I'll answer your questions. So that is it for this one. I will catch you in the next one.